All right, kids, here we go. Factoring quadratic equations or quadratic expressions. Oh my God, I love to factor. Factor. Oh. So, we're going to factor. By the way, all of this information can be found at nkinfinity.com. So, www. Just so you know, this is the second time I've done this video. I do this two different ways because my partner in crime, Miss Newman, and I do this slightly different. She does a product sum or factor by grouping method. That's the other video. So if your teacher teaches factor by grouping or product sum, I'm not sure what else they might call it. Usually it's by grouping or product sum. That's that. I choose to factor by guess and check. I am a guess and check fan. Now, guess and check, quite honestly, is a little bit trickier, a little bit more difficult to start with, maybe. But once you get it, it goes pretty quick. So, yeah. So if your teacher teaches guess and check, stick around, hang out with me. I am Mr. Krause / Mr. Key today. If your teacher teaches the other way, go check on the other video. And again, all these videos can be found at NK Infinity. Or if you're on my YouTube channel, look under Unit 5, Notes 3.5-1. This will be -2. Okay? So, or maybe I'll call it guess and check. All right, we're just going to go through. By the way, we're only going to factor today where A is bigger than 1. So let's go through. You all know how product sum works. And, you all know how to double distribute. So if I double distribute here, I get 3x squared minus 2x minus, minus 27x, or plus 27x, and then minus 18. But it's this thing right here which causes us all kinds of problems, because up until now, this is 25x, we've said, okay, give me two numbers that multiply to 18 that add up to the middle 25. Can't do that anymore because we now have a multiplier. This is a multiplier. So notice the 3 got multiplied by the 9. So I'm not adding 9 and 2 to get 25. I have a 3 is a multiplier. So we got to be careful with that, and we got to accommodate for that. So let's really see where that comes from again real quick. This is x. This is 7x squared. And now I did x times 1 is 1x. And then 7 times 8 is 56x. And then 8 times 1 is 8. So again, 7x squared plus 57x plus 8. I'll never find two numbers that multiply to 8 that add up to 57. It just doesn't happen. And that's because it's more difficult factoring because we have this multiplier of 7. Let's see it again real quick. This one has minus 6 and minus 7x and positive 21. So these two add up to negative 13 and x plus 21. But notice these two middle ones, you'll never find two numbers that add to those that multiply to these. That's because you have the multiplier. And I'm going to skip the rest of that. We're going to move on. You'll notice that the only thing I really kept this around for, this is how we double distribute. We go through this step, and then we go to here. I'm going to teach you to go from here directly to here while doing this math more than likely either in your head or off to the side. So let's see how this works. We're going to do two sets of parentheses. 3x and x. The only way to multiply to 3x squared is 3x times x. Now I'm going to start teaching you some tricks and some methods to go a little bit faster. The next place I want you to look is the 10, the positive 10, okay? There's the positive 10. Because it's positive 10, I know the two signs have to be the same. So they're either both going to be negative or both going to be positive. So whenever it's positive, they're both going to be whenever this is positive, they're both going to be positive or both going to be negative. And this will tell you what they're going to be. So, okay, I'm in pretty good shape now. I always tell kids, I want you to guess the easiest numbers first. What's the easiest way to multiply to 10? And by easy, I mean the two closest together. Not 1 and 10. That'll almost never be the case. I want you to pick the two that are closest together. In this case, 2 and 5. All right, try them. 2 and 5. All right, let's see if it worked. If it didn't work, we'll try something else. This is 2x and this is 15x. That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up to 11. Now again, said some of this stuff you're going to do in your head, some of it you're going to do on the side. Put a 5 here and a 2 here. All I did was switch them. All I did was switch them. Oh, okay. That's 6 and that's 5. Okay, that's 11. 6 and 5 is 11. I'm done. Problem's over with. Let's move on. Yes, it's going to be that easy. Especially when the number is prime. So 7x and x. Now here we got a problem. I know it has to be -2, which means I don't want them to add up to the middle. I want them to subtract to get to the middle. On the last problem, I did the 6x plus 5x and got 11x, and that's because this was positive. If that number is negative, they're going to subtract up to the middle. Well, the only way to multiply to 2 is 1 times 2. So it's either this way or the other way. It's got to be one of the two. And this is 14, and this is 1, and I'll never get 5 that way. I will never get 5. So I got to try it the other way. Put the 2 here and the 1 here. Now this is 7. That's 7x. And this is 2x. Now with 7x and 2x, let's bring that off to the side here. I can make 5. I can subtract it this way. That would give me positive 5x. Or I can do it this way. That would give me negative 5x. And since I want negative 5x, I need to make sure that the negative 7 is, the 7 is negative. Now the 7 came from multiplying these two together. So the negative goes here and the positive goes here. And just check that, make sure it's right. You know, make sure that you get that right. Again, this is negative 7x and positive 2x. Boom, negative 5x. Done. Let's keep going. There's only one way to multiply to 2x squared. It's 2x and x. This is positive, so I know that it's either going to be positive, positive, or negative, negative. And I can put the signs in. When it's negative, you can't put the signs in. You got work to do. But when it's positive, you should be smiling. You're like, okay, they're both negative, or they're both positive. Wait a second. That's positive, so they both have to be positive. And now, pick the easiest way to multiply to 5, or 20. Now, I'm going to teach you something else here, kids. 4 and 5. That's the easiest one. Now, if you go back to the original problem, did the original problem have a GCF? Look at the original problem. Does it have a GCF? 2 and 13 and no, nothing. So because the original problem didn't have a GCF, and by the way, you always have to look for a GCF, but because the original problem didn't have a GCF, neither will either of these parentheses. So if I was to put a 4 here, wouldn't these two have a GCF? They would have a GCF. So 4 can't go there. If I'm going to use 4 and 5, the 4 has to go here, and the 5 has to go here. Let's see if it works. 8 and 5. 8x and 5x. That's 13x. Done. I know you're mad. All right, you try these two on your own. Please try them on your own, see what you come up with. Or you can just keep coming along with me, but you can try them on your own. You can pause it. Go ahead. You're back? Okay, good. No GCF here. So 2x and x. Now, again, the only way to, wait, it's positive. So they're both going to be positive. The only way to multiply to 2 is 1 times 2. It's the only way. And because there was no GCF to begin with, I can't put a 2 there, right? This 2 can't go here because that means that first set of parentheses would have a GCF. So the 2 can't go there, so I have to put a 1. And this has to be 2. And let's check it out. 5x or 4x, 1x, that makes 5x. All right, let's go here. It's always easy when this is prime and this is prime. So 3x and x. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, there's only, well, because it's negative, you can't put the signs in. But the only way I can do it is 5 and 1. So how about 1 and 5? All right, that's 15. Oh, I'm way far away from 2. And that's 1x. That's backwards. That's not going to work. And at some point, you're going to get good enough and go, oh, wait a second. 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, let's put the 5 here and 1 here. So this gives me 3x. And this gives me 5x. Now I need to make positive 2. That means the larger one has to be positive and the smaller one has to be negative. So negative here, positive here. All right, so in my thing, you're always going to look for a GCF. Always, always, always look for a GCF. Check for dots, difference of perfect squares. We're just going to skip all of these and we're just going to do guess and check. All right, here we go. There is a GCF. Let's see, 2 goes in, 4 doesn't go in, so 2. And I'm left with 8x squared minus 18x minus 5. All right? Now we're at a little bit of an issue, a teeny tiny issue, and that's because I have an 8x squared in front. So instead of 8x, I can either use x or 8x and x because it's composite. I can do it 2 different ways, or 4x and 2x. And again, I always use the ones that are closest. I try 4x and 2x first. If that doesn't work, then I'll go try the 8x and the x. But usually this works. All right. The only way to multiply to 5 is 5 and 1. So let's put a 5 in there and let's put a 1 in there. Let's see if we can do this. 20x and 2x. Now because it's negative, we're going to be subtracting to get the middle. Not adding to get the middle, subtracting to get the middle. All right, let's see. If I make this negative 20, so that's negative 20 and positive 2. Would you all agree that adds up to negative 18? Sure does. So the negative 20 goes from with these two, and the positive 2 comes from these two. There it is. Don't forget the 2 has to stay out front. If you forgot that 2, you're in trouble. Try this one on your own. See how you do. There is no GCF, so try it on your own. No, really, try it on your own. Then you can come back. Hit pause. Just hit the pause button. Pause, pause. Got 2 lines. Almost lost my pen. All right, you're back. Hey, thanks for coming back. Okay, the only way to multiply to 5x squared is 5x times x. Now I'm trying, let's see, this is negative, so I can't put the signs in. But I'm going to try the 2 closest numbers that multiply to negative 40. I'm going to try 5 and 8. Now I can't put the 5 here because that means that would have a GCF. So if this is going to work, the 5 has to go in the other one. So 5 here and 8 here. Now remember, because it's negative, they're going to subtract to give me 17. This is 25x. This is 8x. That's why we did that middle work. All right, so let's see. They have to multiply to positive. If they have to add up to a positive, wouldn't this one have to be negative? And isn't 25 minus 8 17? Yes, it is. So the positive 25 and the negative 8. All right, so let's keep going. What do we got left? All right, so the next 2 pages are 12 problems that I'd like you to try on your own. Look for GCF, look for dots, and then factor. Okay? I'm going to go through them, but I would suggest you stop the video now, go do all 12 of them, and then come back and see how you did. Practice them. All right, but I will do them. But I'm not your trained monkey. I've been factoring for over You don't want to know. Long time. Teaching 20 years of this stuff. I know what I'm doing. I can factor with my eyes closed. You do not want to be doing that. So stop. Don't watch the train monkey, and then just go scrub through the video and see how you do. All right, I'll see you in a minute. Did you pause it there? I'll put it back. All right, pause it there. Oh my God, you're back. Okay, we have a GCF, a 5. And I'm left with, oops. I'm left with 4x squared minus 9. This is dots, the difference of two squares. So it's easy factoring. What multiplies to 4x squared? Oh, 2x, 2x. What multiplies to 9? Oh, 3 and 3. One's plus, one's minus. Don't forget the 5 out front. Dots, difference of two squares. We're done. Oh, look, we already have the answer here. JK. This has a GCF 3. I'm left with x squared minus 25. Difference of perfect squares, a difference of two squares, so x and x plus 5 and minus 5. All right, 2 down, 10 to go. Another town, one more show. Looks like here we have a GCF. They all have a 0 at the end. A 5 can go into all of them. So 5x squared plus 8x plus, in this case, it is 16. So I need two numbers that multiply to 8 that add up to 16. Now, because this is plus, I can put the signs in. They're both going to be positive. And 4 and 4. It's actually called a perfect square trinomial. You can write it like this. We'll do this tomorrow. Either way is acceptable. No GCF here. I hope you've paused these. If you're still watching the train monkey work, please stop watching the train monkey. Just do them on your own. Pause it, try it, come back. It's the only way you're going to get it. Okay? You can watch a professional basketball player play all day long, but unless you get out there and shoot, you're not going to get any better at it. You have to practice. All right, the only way to multiply to 2x squared is 2x and x. Now for 6, now wait a second, it's positive, so I can put the signs in. They're both going to be plus. For 6, I think it's 2 and 3. The 2 cannot go in that first one. It cannot. So it has to go here if this is going to work. Otherwise, I'm going to try 6 and 1. But if it's going to work, the 2 has to go there. That's 4. That's 3. That's 7. We're done. All right, here we go. 3x and x. If I'm going to multiply to 8, by the way, notice that the sign's negative, so I'm not putting the signs in. I don't know what I was going to do. But if I'm going to multiply to 8, it's probably going to be 2 and 4. So let's put the 4 here and the 2 here. I don't know. Let's see if I can get it. 6 and 4. Oh, my gosh. 6x and 4x add up to 10x. I'm done, right? What? Oh, you mean they have to subtract to get 10. Right? Because this is negative. One of these has to be positive. One of them has to be negative. So those don't subtract to give you 10. Those subtract to give you 2. So that's not going to work. So apparently that wasn't right. So let's switch them. Let's switch them. Let's try, what do we have? 4 and 2. That's 12. No, that's back to the way I had it. That's just the way I had it. Let's try 2 and 4. That's 12. And that's 2x. Now, those I can subtract to get 10. But I want positive 10, so the small thing has to be negative. So that negative 2x has to be negative, and this one has to be positive. All right, no prime, no GCF here. 7x and x. All righty. I can't put the signs in, but I know that they have to subtract to get 40. Now, normally I'm going to try 3 and 4 first. It's not going to work. This is 28, and this is 3. And if I subtract those, I get 25. And if I switch it, it's just going to get worse. But if I do switch it, it would be worse. Because now it's 21, and this would have to be -4. And that's not going to be it. And the reason I wouldn't have picked these to begin with, because this number is so ginormous. 40 is a big number. I know the numbers I pick should be really, really, really far away from each other. Now, when you get good at it, when you get a little bit better at it, you'll start to recognize some patterns. Now, I would pick 2 and 6. That would be the one I'd start with. I have to get close to 40. Remember, one of these numbers is going to multiply by 40. How can I get close to 40? Which one would I want to multiply by? The 6, right? So I should put the 6 here and the 2 here. Check this out. That's now 42. That's really close to 40, and this is 2. And those I can subtract to get 40x. So just make sure that the smaller one is negative and the bigger one is positive. Positive, negative. All right, so there's lots of stuff with patterning, finding patterns that you can do. All right, no GCF here. 2x and x. More than likely, this is going to be 2 and 3. I can't put the signs in because I don't know where they go yet. But I do know that 2 can't go here. It can't because I'd have a GCF, so it must go here. 2 and 3. Now, if this doesn't work, I got something else I can try, but let's check it out. That's 4x, and that's 3x. And if I subtract those, because I have to subtract, they would give me 1x. I just got to make sure that the bigger one is positive and the smaller one is negative. I know, I'm flipping somebody to the dark side. Some of you are like watching what I do, and I go, oh, that's so much easier. All right, here we go. Bam, 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 bam. 5x and x. Now, I'm going to try 2 and 3. Now, can I put the signs in? Absolutely. I'll be right back. Because this is a positive 6, I know they have to be both positive or both negative. And because this is negative, I know they have to both be negative. I just know it. All right, so let's try it. Let's put the numbers in. 3 and 2. Let's see if it works. 15 and 2. That doesn't make. Remember, we're adding now. We're adding, not subtracting to get the middle. Now, because they're both going to be negative, this is negative 15 and negative 2. These do not add up to 13, so you got to be careful. Got to be careful with your signs. So these are not going to work. But I think if we switch them, that'll work. 2 and 5. Or 2 and 3, not 5. 5 can't even go here. That's why I was bothered with that 3. So this is negative 10, and this is negative 3. And yes, those do add up to negative 13. So just make sure you're not making silly mistakes. Don't make silly mistakes. All right, keep going. Boom, 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 boom. Only way to multiply to 5x is 5x and x. 24. Now it's negative, so I know we're going to be subtracting. One's going to be positive and one's going to be negative, so we're going to be subtracting to get 26. Now 26, that's a pretty big number. I don't know. Let's try, what are the two closest numbers to, let's try 4 and 6. 4 and 6. All right, let's put them in. 4 and 6. This gives me 30. And this gives me 4. Oh my goodness, it can't be that easy. If you subtract 30 minus 4, don't you get 26? I thought I was doing it wrong. I lucked into it. So 30. So this has to be a negative 4 and a positive 36. So this has to be positive, this has to be negative, and that gives you your answer. Come on. Give me a challenge. Bam, 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 bam. Now 6x can be either 2x and 3x or 6x and x. And I always pick the easiest. I say easiest, closest to each other. So I'm going to pick 3x and 2x. Now, since this is positive, I know both signs are going to be the same, and in this case, they're both going to be positive. There's only one way to multiply to 2, and that's 1 times 2. And where can I not put that 2? That's right, that 2 cannot go there. So it has to, if this is going to work, go over here. Just has to. Otherwise, I'd have a GCF here. So put a 2 here. That means the 1 has to be here. 3x, 4x, that's 7x, and that's what I want. There it is. There's my answer. We got 2 left. Oh my goodness. All right. So there are 2 ways to multiply to 21. I can either use 7x and 3x or 21x and x. And again, I will always pick the ones that are closest to each other. Doesn't always work, but it works like 95% of the time. So, oops, I want 7x and 3x. Now the 2 numbers closest to each other that multiply to 30 are 5 and 6. Now remember, I can't put the signs in because it's negative, and they're going to subtract to give me the middle. All right. Which one of these can I not put the 6 in? Can I put the 6 in here? Can I put the 6 in over here? You're right. I cannot put the 6 here. If I put the 6 here, I would have a GCF. And so therefore, the 6 cannot go in here. So if this is going to work, the 6 has to go over here. And then that would mean the 5 would have to go here. Now let's see if that works. That's 35. And that's 18. 35 minus 18 is 17. But I don't want 17. I want negative 17. So in this case, the larger thing has to be negative and the smaller thing has to be positive. So we'll put a plus there and a minus there. Yay, that wasn't too bad. Got it first time. All right, almost done. Again, we can either use 8x and 1x or 4x and 2x. I'll try 4x and 2x. There's only one way to multiply to 7. 7 times 1. That's it. I mean, there's a billion ways. A million, quadrillion, infinite number of ways. But for the most part, there's only one way with whole numbers. Or integers, excuse me. So plug them in. I don't know. 7 and 1. Let's see if it worked. 4x. 14x. Now remember, we're going to subtract. That's 10x. That's not even close. So let's just switch them. 2. And eventually you'll just start to see these patterns. Oh, 28x. This should be a 1, by the way. And 2x. So if I take 28 minus 2, that's 26. But I don't want 26. I want negative 26. So this should be negative, and this should be positive. This one should be negative, and this one should be positive. And there we go, kids. And that is factoring by using guess and check. All right, I'm done. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I did. I had a great time with you. Catch you on the flip side, kids. Goodbye.